All right, how's it going, strummers? This lecture, I'm excited to help you work on adding upstrokes into your practice. It'll just come naturally right after downstrokes. Here's my metronome set up at 60 beats per minute, and we'll go ahead and turn that on and get right into it. I'll grab a G chord, a G major chord, a good 6-string chord here where you don't have to mute any strings. And what we're going to do is go ahead and try strumming an easy alternation rhythm, which would just be down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Make the downstrokes match the click of the metronome. That's the beat. And your upstroke would be in between those clicks. So, all right, you can count while you strum as well. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so the downstrokes are the numbers, the 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the ands are the ups. And if you're working on that, you are working on the foundation of all strumming. So let's just kind of talk about the sound of an upstroke a little bit. One of the most, one of the most crucial elements is that an upstroke does not need to be, and probably won't sound that good if it's all the strings. So you don't need to strum all the strings for an upstroke. I am right here. I'm focusing on strumming just the G, B, and E strings for my upstroke. There it is. Okay. Let's look at it a little slower. What is actually happening? Okay. So it does seem like I stroke down and my pick ends up like this, kind of to the side, and then I throw my hand back up, and it does look like there has to be a turn like this a little bit so that you can make sure and miss the strings, miss the E, A, and D strings. So like I kind of am turning my pick like this to just catch the G, B, and E strings. So that was one of the key elements, though, of the sound is the sound of a good upstroke probably does not hit all the strings. Only hitting the G, B, and E strings. So, just like for downstrokes, we said to do the gravity drop or use gravity to kind of throw your pick through the strings fast. Now, we can't really use gravity for upstrokes, so you really have to work on your touch, your up touch. You know, you do ups, I guess you could say. So you have to find a way to sweetly throw, sweetly meaning maybe not too loud and twangy or something. So you have to find a way though to upstroke cutting through the strings fast. Not like this, but right. Let's mute the strings a little while. So that's the element of a quick cutting sound for clarity of idea and rhythm. What's next here? Maybe just, and this is especially if you're going for the biggest possible sound the guitar can make, like down strumming all 6 strings and upstroking on the 3 high strings, G, B, and E. So if you want that sound, there's other sounds you can get, but it's just to make sure that when you downstroke, make sure and throw your hand down enough to, have enough swing room to come up properly. So don't stop too early in your drop. And if you are dropping and being relaxed, you can just kind of let it drop. But maybe before you get relaxed and get to that point, maybe you do feel like you are doing every motion or something. Just if you still feel stiff, just make sure you come down enough to come up again. And when you throw your hand up, swing up high enough to have an easy time dropping down again. So maybe at this point it's time to put a metronome back on, and 60 beats a minute is the starting point here. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. All right, increase the speed to 70. Oh yeah, you can kind of feel the time before you play. And as you repeat it over and over and over, listen really hard to the sound. One thing you want to try and listen for is a consistency of volume. And we'll talk a little more about dynamic control or volume control in a later lecture. But volume is kind of a product or a function of like pushing into the strings when you strum. That gives you a louder volume. And then softness comes from pulling away when you like finding just what is the point away from the strings where you can pick, and the pick is barely touching it. And that's how you get a soft volume. So while you strum like this, you want to be listening to volume and start trying to have a consistency. So a consistency of volume and what strings you're hitting when you strum. All right, and just the faster and faster you go, it's going to get harder and harder to be consistent in the sound. So this is really what you should be practicing. my students sometimes will miss a stroke altogether. It's sometimes it's really hard to even hit like every down and up that you want. All right, so um, common song tempos kind of get all the way up to maybe 140 for like a really fast song. So right now we're at 80 beats a minute. That's where that metronome was. Um, so we can maybe get to like a 120 maybe. That's kind of a common fast song speed. 140 would be kind of the extremes. And I am kind of having trouble hearing the metronome a little bit. So practicing with the muted strings, it helps a lot with the motion, um, and maybe volume control. But grabbing a chord, there's nothing like just grabbing a chord for hearing consistency of like strings that you're strumming. So you really need to practice strumming with both a chord and muted strings. Oh yeah, muted strings also really bring to light like are you strumming like this or like drumming percussion hits. So let's try it with a chord at 120. Really just sitting down um, and studying it, studying your motion, listening. So let's go to 140. So get used to the time. So my downs are still on the clicks. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And my ups are in between. Wow. So I found it pretty hard to be consistent there with volume and sound of the strings, but it wasn't too bad, I guess. So you can kind of see what I need to work on. When I was strumming fast, I was also tempted to like push into the strings and get kind of that loud volume, but I also felt pushing into the strings was making my pick want to fall out. So I was really I had to stop. You saw me stop, and that's what I really did. Is I adjusted my the feel of my pick in my fingers. It felt like it was falling out. All right. So I hope that helped you with getting upstrokes into your practice of downstrokes. It would be beneficial to practice, the easy alternation rhythm, but it's also going to be beneficial to just do ups too. Like you will need both to perform kind of all the variety of rhythms. All right, so thank you for practicing, working hard on your sound and your strumming motion, and working on upstrokes. So that'll be all for this lecture, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank y'all. How's it going, y'all? Thank you for clicking on this video about strumming. I hope that it was helpful. Just wanted to let you know that I do have a new online course on this topic called Strumming is Drumming. Learn 51 easy guitar strum patterns. It's a technique course. It's got a lot about strumming technique, like getting a really relaxed form and kind of building speed and stuff like that. Um, oh, and also building, not just that, but like the finesse section gets you kind of more musical, like adding a kind of color to your strumming, like some strums louder and softer than others, or with different tones, like when you strum on lower strings or high strings. It's a technique course, but it's also just a strum pattern encyclopedia course. Basically, I listen to 500 songs and put them into rhythm categories. So if online courses is your thing, here's a good one on strumming. You'll learn more than you ever thought you could, probably.